Okay, some kind of quick wins and stuff that you can do to make sure you're keeping on top of your SEO and other Google related things. We'll start off in your site settings, not SEO related, but put your fave icon in there. That is the little icon that shows up in people's internet tabs. You can Google fave icon generator if you don't have one already, and stick your logo and stuff in there, and it will give you a file to upload here. Or you can just make your own square PNG in Photoshop and upload that. Site name does not impact SEO, but this should be the name of your brand, because Google results will typically be, it'll say your page title, and then whatever the site name is. So, I make okay websites is what I would put here, or Glenn Weaver photography. You don't need to stuff this with keywords because it's not going to affect your ranking, but will help with brand recognition when you do come up in Google. That's it for that area. Page SEO settings. So this is a pretty big one. So let's click on another page and you'll see under SEO settings, you've got some settings here. So under SEO settings on each page, page title is a very important one for Google. So this is where you can put a little bit of detail into what this page is about. So instead of just having about us here, you might have about your Manchester alternative wedding photographer. I don't know, you can dress it up. And as always, ChatGPT is great for giving you ideas. The meta description is what will come up if you Google something. It'll come up normally with, say, like, it'll come up with the page title and then like Glenn Weaver photography, and then it'll give like a little excerpt, and it's normally going to pull this from the meta description. And the share image is what's going to come up if you share the page to Facebook or WhatsApp or Pinterest, X, any of those kind of things. Little tip for that is most of the time when you update this and publish the site, it might not find it for a very long time, and you'll try to figure out why. If you look up Facebook debugger, the first results, if you click on that and put in your URL, I mean, you can do this at any time. If I put that one in and hit debug, it doesn't do anything to your page, but it will just tell you the last time that Facebook scraped your site for both the picture and the kind of description and everything. And at any time you can just hit scrape again and it'll scrape again. Before I went on to this in the last hour, it said the last time it checked it was 2024. So it's very sporadic checking. And you just, this is where you'll see your share image, your page, excuse me, your page title, and the meta description, which is what we were setting back here. Excuse me. Okay, and one other thing that some people think is your page name or page slug. That has minimal to no impact on your SEO, so you don't need to try to keyword stuff this. If you want to change it to about your Manchester wedding photographer, blah, 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 that will update the slug as well. So the slug is just the bit that comes after your URL. So it'll be imakeokwebsites.com/about your Manchester wedding, and that just doesn't look good. The most important thing here, if I can undo that, is just keeping those nice and clean. The main thing is in SEO settings, that page title is very important. We've covered the share image, Facebook debugger. Okay, so within a page, let's look at the home page, for example. Excuse me. I'm not used to talking this much. So let's click on some text and text properties. This text tag is very important. This is telling Google what's an important headline, what's a lesser important headline, and what's text. Every page should only have one H1, means header one. It doesn't have to be the biggest one. For instance, I've got, I'll set this to H2 for this example. And these will all be set up, but you can obviously, if you want to change anything or you put another heading in, this is where you can know how to change it. But so if I was going to have just my logo here or a kind of silly tagline, I probably wouldn't want to make that the H1 because that's not really clear about what this page is about. So I can make that the H2, and then this bit, the SEO bit of text. So if this was going to be, say, Manchester wedding, I've forgotten how to type, photographer for alternative couples. Oh, this is painful watching me type that. Then this is what we want to set to H1. That is like the most important part of this page, I think, is that description there. That's what we want Google really saying, oh, this is what this page is about. So there should only be one H1 on every page. And there can be multiples of everything else. So got H2 because it's less important. And you've got your, and then normal text is nearly always going to be P, which is paragraph. Buttons don't have one. So you can go through, if there's anything that you want to change, then you can definitely go through and do that. But very important to basically make sure that your H1 clearly describes that page. It doesn't have to say homepage of blah, 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 but this is kind of like, this is you. This is really what you're trying to push to Google is this point here. If you set I'm Alex Smith as your H1, I mean, that would work too if you're using your name. But if that's not your business name, then it's going to kind of confuse Google a bit. So that's text. Images. I click on an image here and go image. So image names are images. So I'll say overall images don't really impact SEO. Apart from if the images are way too big, it can slow your page down, which can hurt your SEO. But there's things like JPEG Mini and other compressors that can help get images down. Like I wouldn't be putting in 5,000 pixel wide images for all your images because that's just going to take minutes to load, and Google's going to know that is what's going to say that that's not a great site. So what we can do on images is image name has a little bit of impact on images being found on Google image search. So you might want to call images, instead of like, image img1234.jpg, you might want to call that Lauren and Glenn wedding photographers bio.jpg or something. If you want, just for feature images, if it's anything that you're ever interested in coming up on Google Images, you definitely need to do it for all of them. Image title has next to no impact on your SEO or anything. On some browsers that can, if someone hovers over your image, I don't know if it'll do it in preview, hovers over your image, I don't think most browsers do it anymore, but sometimes that would come up with a little box saying what the image title was. So I never set those. I think that just defaults to whatever the image is called. Alt text is important for accessibility, which Google likes, and also important for the most important thing for your images being found in Google Images. So if someone goes to Google Images and searches for Manchester Museum ceremony, It's the thing it's going to look for the most in the image search is the alt text, but that's not going to help your page come up in just if they just do a normal Google search for Manchester Museum ceremony. But alt text, the best way that people usually describe things is it's going to be something like, just make it quite simple, plain English, couple hugging, in, I don't remember where this was taken, somewhere in California, if it's important. Bad example, so I chose that, but again, just straight up go to ChatGPT and ask it for some tips in writing alt text. It does a great job of that. Okay, another thing to check once you've published your site, and you can do this every now and then, is go I'll put this link for this one, but you can just Google broken link checkers. So I use this one here, brokenlinkcheck.com. And if you chuck your URL in the code, it will do a search through and it will tell you any broken links that you've got, what the link text is. It'll let you know that the URL it was found on. So I would have to go through these and fix up those links. SEO wise, Google obviously doesn't like it when your site has errors. This is a wedding photography site, so I would go through now and the URL will tell me that that's on the homepage. That's on the pricing guide, so I can go through and check where that link is, and it's coming off an image, and obviously that page doesn't exist. So you want to do a broken link checker. Another thing to set up that I would recommend doing kind of as soon as you've published your site is setting up a Google Analytics account. You can just use your Google account for that. Look up Google Analytics. It'll guide you through setting up a property. It'll give you like a property number that starts with GA. It's about 9 digits long. Going back to Showit, if we jump into site settings, integrations, Google Analytics, this is where you can put in that 9 or so digit number. And what that will then allow you to do is just look at some of the analytics for visitors to your site, where they're visiting from, what pages they're going to, how they're finding you. There's a lot of reports you can do here. Even if you plan on never using it, or I'm not going to look at this for a few months, recommend implementing it straight away, or near as, just because then at least it's getting that data in the background. You don't have to do anything with it. Once it's set up, it's done. And even if you decide to never look at this again, at least the data's there in case you ever decide to see how your site's performing, or when you put up certain blogs, how many visits did you get. It's great for that. A little bit more advanced version of analytics is Google Search Console. If you just look up Google Search Console, again, you can make an account with your Google. It'll guide you through how to do everything, and how to link it to your site. That one's not through Showit. That one, it'll give you the instructions for how to do it through your domain register. This gives you a bit deeper knowledge of what's going on your site. So how things are trending. It'll let you know what people are querying when they go through your site, what's getting the most impressions. And you can submit sitemaps here, which just kind of lets Google know all these pages that you've got. It'll let you know if there's any like major issues that you need to know about. So yeah, it's really good for that. If you don't get Google Search Console, at least get Google Analytics. Even if you're never going to use it, that is fine. And that is the main area of, jumping back to Showit, that is the main SEO kind of things to know, more relevant to Showit. And I hope that helps you out, because SEO is pretty good. I think the main thing really though is like, it's going to be about content. If you've got good text, good content, clear, it's something that people like clicking through and reading and spending time on, that is going to be the best possible thing for SEO. One, Google's going to see that people are on there for a while, and it's going to, and the main thing is once people get to your site, you want them to book, you want them to get in contact. So just having, I think, tailoring the content more for people than for robots is always something I recommend, but there is, you can do both. That's it for SEO 101.